This potato soup recipe has been the #1 potato soup on Google for at least the past 5 years. And there's a good reason for it. I call this the ultimate potato soup. It is loaded, it's indulgent. This is not health food, people, but it is incredible comfort food, and it has thousands of 5-star ratings. You need a large pot to start. I love my Dutch oven. This works great for this recipe. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to cook some bacon. You need 6 strips of bacon. I prefer to start off with it cut up into small pieces. I just feel like it makes the cooking process easier and more even. Drop it in your pot, all of it in the pot. Spread it out a bit so it can cook evenly. Let's cook this over medium heat until it's nice and crispy. Takes a couple minutes. You'll want to move the bacon around a bit as it's cooking so it gets that nice golden brown and crispiness. Starting the soup off on a bacon base is going to infuse so much flavor. Like, this is the key to the best potato soup recipe. Just wait till you try it. While the bacon's cooking, I like to start cutting up my potatoes. For this recipe, you are going to need 2.5 pounds of gold potatoes. Gold or yellow will work well. They have a nice thin skin, but I do still recommend peeling the skin. It just makes for a smoother soup. We'll go ahead and peel these first. Now, if you want to use a russet potato, yes, you can. They work very well. I just think you get a better flavor when you use gold. My mom always makes this with russets. Now, for cutting the potatoes, you want to cut them into pieces no larger than 1 inch. A little smaller even helps them cook faster. Don't make them tiny though. Cut them nice and even so when we add them to the soup, they cook nice and evenly. All right, these are chopped up. Put them in a bowl. We don't need them yet. And for anyone wondering, the printable recipe is always available in the description. I have my notes on it. All right, this bacon's looking pretty good. So what we're gonna do here is we're going to remove it to a plate. What we're not going to do is remove, look at that, nice and golden. What we're not going to do is remove the grease. You want that grease in the pot. That is what makes this soup amazing. That is how we are going to get incredible flavor here. Just using a slotted spoon to remove the bacon. Like, this is the ultimate soup. And that bacon grease makes it ultimate. So we're cooking everything in there. If you made my award-winning chili recipe, you know a bacon base really helps make things amazing. Okay, next up, 3 tablespoons of butter. Salted or unsalted, either one's fine. I generally grab the salted here, but you're going to have to adjust the salt a bit to taste, so use whatever you have on hand. Careful, things can get a little sizzly and poppy here. Another thing we're not going to do, those brown bits on the bottom of the pan, don't panic about those, you want those. We're going to work those in a bit into the soup. That is also critical for building this incredible flavor. How many times can I say incredible flavor? I don't know, but I'm serious about flavor, so that is what we're aiming for here. All right, butter's melted. We're going to add some onion. This is about 1.5 cups of chopped onion. It's usually like a medium to large onion. We're going to cook this onion until it is nice and softened and translucent. Usually takes about 5 minutes. And if you don't get the brown bits up now, don't worry about it. We'll get to them a bit later on, but I do kind of like to scrape the bottom of the pan a bit and encourage some of that browning to come up with the onions, because again, what are we doing? We're infusing as much flavor as possible. You can get that into the onions, bonus points for you. At this point, you should be thinking, wow, this smells amazing. I can't wait to eat this. We've got a few more tricks up our sleeves to really build this flavor. This should be the best potato soup you've ever tried in your life, and I want to know what you think. All right, once these are good and translucent, let's add our garlic. This is about 1 tablespoon of garlic. Please use freshly minced garlic. It really does make a difference in flavor. Let's go ahead and stir this in. Cook it until the garlic is nice and fragrant. Like 30 seconds, keep it moving. That's all it needs. Again, your kitchen should smell amazing. Okay, next thing we're adding is 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour. We're just going to sprinkle this over our veggies, basically creating like the beginning stage of a roux. Get that flour completely dissolved and mixed in. You don't want to see any lumps. And then once it's all nicely worked in, I like to cook it for like another 60 seconds longer. Just to, again, surprise, we're going to develop that flavor a little bit more. Like, there's a reason this is the best potato soup. Am I sharing this too early in the year? Too close to the resolutions? Maybe. But it's a great winter soup. Just don't eat it every day, okay? Okay, here I like to add our potatoes. Again, 2.5 pounds of potatoes. Try not to splatter. Stir these in real quickly. We will also add some spices now. So I start with 1.5 teaspoons of salt. It's possible you might need to add a bit more later on. Always taste test. Whether or not you need to add more salt is going to depend on the exact salt quantity of your other ingredients, like your butter, your chicken broth, so always taste test at the end. We will also be adding 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper. All right. Sorry, pepper's gonna make me sneeze. Freshly cracked is better, but okay, secret ingredient time. Ancho chili powder. I love this ingredient. Use it in my award-winning chili. Like, this ingredient makes the difference. Just doing a quick stir while I monologue, that way nothing burns. Ancho chili powder is usually found in your spice aisle next to the regular chili powder. The difference it makes, even with this small amount, is incredible. It adds like a subtle, smoky, slightly sweet flavor. It's what makes this, in my opinion, the best potato soup. Hopefully in your opinion as well. This is a half teaspoon of ancho chili powder. I've had people who can't find ancho chili powder tell me they just use regular chili powder and they've had success with that as well. But for the best flavor, you want ancho chili. All right, let's add some liquid here. We are going to need 4 cups of chicken broth. Usually that's one of these containers. Choose a nice quality chicken broth, just for best flavor. So we're just gonna drizzle this in slowly and scrape the bottom of the pan as we do, because any brown bits that are still on the bottom, we wanna work those into the soup now. Don't leave them on the bottom. 1, it's going to leave so much flavor behind. 2, it's a pain to clean. It's just sad. So work those in and just gradually add this. Nikki likes to remind me I should be pouring this way. I guess it's smoother. Is that right, Nick? Mm-hmm. I guess she's a little more culinary than I am. Evidently, if you change a lot of oil in your car, you would also know that. Next, we're going to add 2 cups of milk. I'm using a whole milk. Surprise, we're not going light on the fat here. We're gonna drizzle this in slowly as well. And then we are going to immediately follow this with 2/3 cup of heavy cream. Give everything a nice stir. All right, let's bring this to a boil. I'll usually turn up the heat like a smidge, like medium high. Bring everything to a boil. We want to cook the potatoes until they're nice and tender. So we want them to be tender when pierced like a fork, just like if we were making mashed potatoes. Now make sure while you're cooking, you are stirring and scraping the bottom of the pan occasionally, just so nothing sticks or burns to the bottom of the pot. Pan, pot, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. Let's check. These potatoes should be fork tender. They've been boiling for a while now, nice and easy. So what you can do is you can take half of this soup over to a blender and puree it over there. So we want a nice smooth soup, at least I do. Instead of a blender, what's much, much, much easier is an immersion blender. This is one of my favorite kitchen tools. I'll try to remember to link to it, but I use this thing all the time. What we're going to do is we're going to puree some of the soup. Actually, what I'm gonna do first is turn that heat down to low because we don't need it boiling anymore. Let's let that calm down for a second before I get too far ahead of myself. And if you are using a blender, make sure you don't overfill it because it could explode or something. I'm going to go ahead and do some pureeing. If you want a totally smooth soup, puree all of it. I like a little bit of texture left, so I don't. Let's take a look at our consistency. Got some potato pieces still, but it's overall fairly smooth. So now we'll add some sour cream. This is 2/3 cup of sour cream. We're gonna stir this in. And you can also add your bacon back into the pot too. Some people prefer to just keep it on the side and serve it on the side. I usually do kind of both. I'll add some of it back to the pot. I really do think it helps with the flavor having it in there. And some of it I will just keep on the side for topping. So let's go ahead and drop this back in. All about that base. Bacon is important for that. So the last thing I like to do is let this soup sit and simmer for like 15 minutes before I serve it. Just help that flavor develop a bit more. And then get your toppings ready. The soup's great as is, but it's an ultimate soup, so we're going to level it up a bit. Some of that reserved bacon, we've got shredded cheese, shredded cheddar is great, some extra sour cream for on top. Scallions or chives, those are great too. It's time to try it and see if we really did just make the best potato soup out there. The best potato soup on the internet. Try not to make a mess. It's hot. We'll add our favorite toppings. A lot of you know I am mostly known for my baking recipes, yet this is the most popular recipe on my website and the most popular potato soup on the internet, at least on Google. If you try it, leave me a comment. If you love it, I love hearing that as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. For the best part of the day, oh man. I'm in love with this soup. We have to set it down so I can really eat it. This is amazing. We left some of the wrapper on the butter, so bear with me for just a second. We don't need that. Yeah, it's fine, it's fine. 3 tablespoons. I'm making so much noise, sorry. Whew, I like inhaled it. And seriously, this is amazing.